What's up, everybody? We are back. John Delarose here, the leading Hispanic voice in science fiction. I haven't really had time to go through and see whatever the entertainment news of the day is. And so maybe I'll come up with a good clickbait title for this. We'll find out, see how many clicks this actually gets. But I just want to go over Flying Sparks because I'm going to be launching Volume 4 on Kickstarter in August. And I want to talk about like what the real indie alternative is. So there's been a big hullabaloo over the last couple of years, where these guys have been trying to say they're the indie alternative to the mainstream, and they put out like 48 pages every year. You can't sustain comics based on that. And so I've been here just like a workhorse, just putting out monthly books over and over. And this is my main series. So I have a bunch of other stuff that's kind of like my testing ground, and they're all over the map. But Flying Sparks is my main series, which is really the one that you should read and get into if you really want an indie alternative to superhero comics. I basically developed this character as a superhero who is a new hero. She's got gadgets that are helping her fly. She's really just like a stalwart person trying to do good for the sake of doing good, and she is dating a supervillain who kind of has a more realistic approach to supervillaining, as he tries to hide the fact that he's a supervillain. He's just trying to stay out of there and stay quiet as much as possible. And their lives keep going forward, just so she keeps becoming more and more of a superhero, not spending as much time on her personal life, and there's conflict with their relationship. And her boyfriend Johnny ends up falling deeper and deeper into some mob stuff and becoming just a worse and worse villain, just because he has to be. It's a really tragic story in a lot of ways. All right, so we go through this, and I'm 9 issues into it right now for the main series. And so if you look at this, I guess I should say 10. So, but if you look, I've got the series. Amazon doesn't allow you to put a number 0 in here, so I do have an issue 0, which actually goes over her origin, goes over some early preliminary stuff like how they meet and things like that. And so I've got 10 issues out, I guess, for real, if you count the issue 0. And then I've also got a side story, the Metaman Special, which is out on Amazon also, which goes into this background character, Metaman, who is kind of shepherding Metagirl, who's our main character also. So we've got a deep superhero world developed through this entire series. It's a real superhero world with continuity, with background characters who might get their own series. My other comics will tie into this at some point. This will have guest appearances at some point. It's really, I'm trying to present an ongoing superhero series that is the feel that you had like in the 80s with Tom DeFalco or Chuck Dixon, where you actually had like a real storyline going on with real character development, with a real world that's really interesting and developing and big and something you can immerse in. And so that's what I've done here, and I'm very proud of this. I mean, we've really done a ton of work to get these 10 issues plus Metaman Special, so let's call it 11 issues out right now. And then we'll have 3 more coming in the volume that's going to be on Kickstarter very shortly. And then we also have a crossover going on, because all good superheroes have crossovers. There's another series called Punchline, which has another female superhero by some friends of mine, and we're going to be doing a crossover issue with them. All of that's going to be in the Kickstarter coming up soon. So it's a ton of content, and that's what I want to provide, because if you look at what I like to read these big sweeping collected editions like the Epic collections, where you got 25 issues in a single volume, and you can read through and you've got a whole run or a big developing story over the cross of it. And that's the fun in comics, and that's where comics really shine, where you have that serial element where there's a single contained story in each issue, and yet it develops into something big as it goes all the way around. So I try not to spoil too much of Flying Sparks. I'll give you kind of the basics, but I want to give you a picture for what this series actually is and what it's accomplishing, in terms of being a comic series and what it's doing in the comic space. Because really, this should be a bestseller out there compared to a lot of other stuff. And just because a lot of YouTubers have blacklisted me, because I'm blacklisted by the industry, this is not. This doesn't get the attention it deserves on that front. It gets great reviews all the way around. If you've watched, there's a few YouTubers who have been brave enough to talk about this. The Comic Book Hut, I got to give a shout out to. Nerdette, I've got to give a shout out to, and a couple others who have really seen that this is the best of indie comics out there. and everybody knows it, and it's being suppressed by the guys who don't want you to find that there's an actual way forward where people can actually get invested in a full universe, unlike the other stuff that's being done out there. All right. Yeah, so it's a unique concept. It is something that is my baby. It's developing. I'm hoping, we can eventually get, like Savage Dragon's got 250 issues. I would love to have 250 issues of Flying Sparks out there. What I'm doing right now, though, is volume 4 is going to be the penultimate volume of this series, or this act, or this what do you want to call it, this storyline, and it's going to end in volume 5. So you're very close to the end of it. We're trying to fund everything, try to keep it going through volume 5. We'll see how it does, and if this starts to pick up, if people really start to see that indie comics are really where it's at, and that there's a way forward, and if people actually show that they care about the comics, we'll do more, and that's what it's going to be. I'm really hoping we can. I need your support more than ever, and I'm hoping that you'll catch up. If you haven't read it yet, you can get them digitally pretty cheap and just read the entire series on Kindle real quick. You can also, there's graphic novel versions of this out, so if you just look up Flying Sparks on Amazon, you can find that there's graphic novel versions that are there, and you can just grab them. There's the graphic novel 1. There's a volume 2 and volume 3 up here also, if you want them in print. But again, digital's the best right now because you can read it quickly. You can get it right away. You don't have to wait. And also, I control the digital stuff, so it goes right to me. Here's the issue 0 I was mentioning also. And otherwise, you can message me also on any messenger. I've got volumes. I can sign and send them to you too. That's a way to do it. And then volume 4 will be out next month. So this is going to be it. This is the big Kickstarter of the summer. I'm hoping we can do wonders and really grow this beyond anything else that's been out there, because that's the whole point, is growing this whole indie industry and growing this whole world that's really cool. And I want to share this with you guys. Okay, if you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. Happy to answer them for you. And hit that like and subscribe button. Of course, we need to grow this on that level also, so that more people see this sort of stuff. And we will be back soon with a lot of fun, a lot of cool stuff. And thank you everybody who's been supporting the book so far. You guys have been amazing, of course. And I'm stoked. I mean, Flying Sparks has sold more than 3,000 copies overall, and that's a big accomplishment. I mean, there's not many indies out there on Kickstarter that do that ever. So we are further than a lot of other people. It's just, I really want to get that word out there. So please tell your friends and support the Kickstarter when it comes out next month. I'll see you guys.